Hi, welcome to Wasted Solutions. Today I'm going to show you how to format or create a hard disk partition without formatting the entire computer. So first we have to launch disk management. You can do so by either pressing Windows X on your computer keyboard, then you move to disk management, or you can simply search for it. So you search for disk management, then you open it. So now as you can see, we have our drive C here, which contains the windows, and we have drive D. So we want to create additional partition, making for the partition to be 3. So first let me show you this. So as you can see, we have drive C and drive D. We want to create additional drive E, which we can either rename it as backup or any name depending on your preference. So now we come back to disk management. So as you can see, we have the size for data is 456 gig, then that of the drive C, which contains the windows. So now we want to extend a part of the data disk here, but before we do that, we have to first shrink a bit of the space here. We have 456 gig, so we can shrink part of the data here in order to use the space that we will shrink to create the new disk or the additional disk we want. We can also do the same thing with the drive C here. So now let's begin by shrinking a portion of the data disk here. So you right click on it, then you come to shrink volume. Now depending on the speed of your computer, it will take some time to query the volume. So now as you can see, we have 467 gigabytes. So what you are seeing here is in megabytes. So now we can shrink this amount of space, but we only need, like, let's say about 200 gig or 100 gigabyte space. So now the value you put here will determine or depends on the size you want to create. So what I want to reserve 100 gigabytes for backup. So now I'm going to delete the 44 here and put 100. So make sure that after the 100, the number of figures to the right should be 3 because it's in megabytes here. So this is 100 gigabytes. Now after shrinking, we are going to be left with 366 gig. So now we want to shrink 100 gigabytes. So as you can see, we have 100 and 790, and like I said, the 790 here, it can be any number, so don't worry about that. You don't have to be exact. So the most important thing is the first 3 numbers. So for instance, if you want to shrink 200 gigabytes, you will change the 100 to 200, then you are going to have 267 gig after shrinking it. But I want only 100, so let me change it back to 100. Okay, then we shrink. Now we have our 358 after shrinking. Then we have 97 gigabytes unallocated. Remember, because of the file system, it will take a bit space to save the file system and other informations. So now we are going to extend the 97 gigabytes here, which is equivalent to 100 if we should run it. Now let's right click on it again. Then we go to new simple volume and you click next. Then as you can see, we have our 100 gigabytes here. That's the space we want to extend. Then we click next. Now let's assign a number to the drive. Come here, then these are the available numbers, so you can choose any of them. So in this case, I'm going to choose drive F because I think we have drive E already. Then you click next. Then now format this volume with the following settings. You can leave them as they are here. Then you change the label of the disk to backup. As I said from the beginning, you can change it to any name depending on the name you want to call your disk. So in my instance here, I have backup. Then perform a quick format. and you click next, then you click on finish. So as you can see, we have our additional disk created. So let's come back to this PC. Now we have three disk drives here. We have the drive C, the data disk, which is D, then we have F. Like I said, we have drive E here already. That's the reason why we named or assigned F to this backup here. We can do same to the drive C. You can extend this drive as well. So this is basically how to partition your hard disk without formatting it. Assuming you want to extend part of the drive C here, you can do same by shrinking a bit of the volume. So you can shrink as many space as you want, but when you are working with the drive C, you should be careful because that's where your Windows files are kept. So you have to make sure you have a lot of space or enough space for your system to run faster. So that's how to shrink and extend, or that's how to partition your hard disk without formatting it. I hope this video helps. For this and other videos on IT or how to make the best use of your computer, you can subscribe to our channel for more videos.